Hello! Hello everyone! Hello! Back at it today with the grind! How are you? How is everyone today? How is everyone today? Today. Because I said to myself, holy shit. When I did the research for this episode, I said to myself, holy shit, for this one, even if I go on the surface, if I want to talk about everything, it's going to take days. Even if I, only ever go to the surface. So, this is why at the very last minute it became a part 1. And you will see that there's, it's not exactly complete. So, we're going to have to say, we're going to have to do a little, a little Wikipedia exploration. So that's why we need to do it today, 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 not tomorrow, not tomorrow, not tomorrow. Oh yeah, today, today. I don't find the meme anymore. I arranged all of them, but I can't find the meme anymore. Where is it? Where's my memes? Where's my meme for today? Today. Come on. Oh, I don't find it anymore. I don't find it anymore. No, it doesn't make it perfect. But yeah, it's a Mokoko memo. It's a today! I love those dogs. I love those dogs. Let me tell you that I love those dogs. So instead of a today moment, let's just make it a Toho moment. Because, when you talk about Toho, there's too much of it. There's too much of it. There's way too much of it to talk in a single sentence. I'm just going to begin the recording just in case. Because the video is dead and I want to make a supercut. Eventually I want to make a supercut. But also, why would I have technically like 3 Adventoshis? Because I know about Mokoko and Fukoko. But here's the thing. My Kamiyoshi is marine. It's the pirate, it's the one sailing the 7 seas. And then I'm much more interested in ID than in EN, unfortunately. I do watch Advent through the clips. And then, I was never monetized in the first place. Have you seen my numbers? Do you think that I do any money doing that? It's all a passion project, baby. We are running on passion. And with fume of my self-deceit. It was never about motivation, baby. It was about the Mets. It's all about the Mets. Oh yeah, the Mets. Let's go, the Mets. Oh yeah, kick my ball. Oh yeah, beat my ball, the Mets. I like how they run. It's Bibo and Fuamoko for you. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I understand. Funny Rock and Demon Dogs. I love them. You know, really, what really did like for me a kick in the nads. Sorry, I'm putting back the music. What finally gave me a kick in the nads strong enough to actually begin all of that was Shiori. Was it Shiori? I think it was Shiori, yeah. When she did her Parasite stream. Because it's a project that I have since about a year, that I've been quote unquote preparing for about a year. I have quote unquote a lesson plan. One that immediately jumped to me, and I knew for Omoko. Oh yeah, them. Yeah, the twins. Absolutely love them. That was saved. That was saved. Thanks, Yago. Thanks. Doesn't stop me from wanting to be a holo star. One day I'll be worthy. One day I will have the clout necessary to enter the hallowed halls of being a holo star. One day. But yeah. I mean, no, the moral of all Yago says was Subaru. But come on. But yeah, Yago! I kneel! I kneel! Oh yeah. Let's kneel for Yago. Especially since Holostar is a passion project of him. So, please, Yago-sama, Tanigo-sama, please, let me enter Holostar one day. I don't care if it's dead. I just like Hololive too much. I want. Also, it's part of my 64 plan step in order to marry Marin's sister. Sakana wants to see Marine. I want to go a step further. I want to go inside her. I want to get her as a family. Part of you was just fortunate becoming a stock market. Oh yeah. I like this video. I love this video. Buy! Sell! That's just. Oh, they're so shallow too. I fucking hate these kids, but I love them all the time. I love them all the same. I just want them to never mention my name ever. As Guregan. Guregan is a passion project. I want to actually quote unquote save Marin's sister. I just want her to have a family, you know, a reason to live. A job too, please get a job. You are an adult woman. Please get a job. But hey, let's begin. Shall we? Yeah! Parasite classes 3 Eukaryota, and I should have said part 1 Opisthokonta. Because indeed this is only part 1. And yes, I tried to make the PDF work. The Full Metal Jacket code, but unironically. Okay, yeah, where is this? Come on. So, let's do a definition of what the Eukaryota is, and that is going to be things that we saw previously in the previous Parasite lessons, in the previous Parasite classes. The definition of Eukaryota. It comes from Greek, from Euk and Karyon. So Eu means true, it means well, it means good, it means whole, basically. Eu has a lot of meaning, but it's basically true. Imagining her as a certain gun, which you know that he dies in the movie, right? You do know that he dies in the movie. and the carrion means nut kernel. And basically, it's a cell that has a true core. It defines all of the organisms that have a nucleus. All of them. No exception. There's absolutely no exception to this rule. They are all genetically linked. But yes, it does mean true nuts. And it is extremely appropriate because Eukaryota, technically, the Eukaryota are the only being that suffer from personal clarity. As you'll see later. They're also the only beings that nuts. And make nuts. Since nuts are plant-based. But yes, this is one or maybe the most anthropocentric definition that we can have going around. That we can it is the one true nut. It is maybe one of the most anthropocentric definitions that we have around, because we define the whole of life, as you will see in this tree right there, by the fact that before it was Eukaryota and in the 60s, 70s, it was Eukaryota and Prokaryota. Even in the 90s. It was only in 2004 when we began to basically do what we do best at the moment for literal vanity projects, 23andMe and all that, which means sequencing the genomes, and especially the 16S ribosomic RNA, the ribosomic RNA that we found the one, how to say, that we found archaeas, Eukaryota, bacteria. We found the archaea. That's the only matter. And yes, while Eukaryota are all linked, before that they were both of them were named Prokaryota. So before the microscope, yippee! Yeah, before we have that, we have Prokaryota, which means before the nucleus. But this distinction didn't appear here. It appeared only about here, and they existed at the same time. They basically existed at the same time. As soon as the distinction appeared, they both existed at the same time. It was not like a land of only bacteria, and then one of those bacteria had a nucleus. No, it was a land that has a lot of indistinct beings that separated. And there they separated a bit later. But we all exist at the same time. So you cannot say that the bacteria is a living being before the nucleus. You cannot say that. A modern bacteria is as modern, as evolved, as complex. Let's say as complex and as competitive as us, as fungi, as plants, as animals, as any other things that are present here. This is, if you need to get something out of this class in the first 20 minutes of it, apparently, it is that everyone here, absolutely everyone here, stands as an equal. Didn't Zeta has a stream like this? Remember? I don't watch Zeta. But it's Shiori that did a Parasite stream. And you know what was the kick that decided? Like I said, Shiori did a Parasite stream, and this is the one thing that made basically kick-started this project after 1 year of full dormancy, because it's been more than a year that I'm a Vtuber now. And that she made some easy to avoid mistakes. She made some easy to avoid mistakes, and I don't want to correct her. Reproductive organs are out of Vtuber biology. I don't need reproductive organs, I'm a mega parasite. I'm alone. For women avoid me, fish fear me, I'm all alone in this barren earth. But yes, truly, I'm going to say it again because it needs to be said and fully understood. everyone on the tree of life, despite the quote-unquote position on them, are equal. There's no being that is superior to one another, because let me tell you, those things have in the condition that we are of planet change, of the climate changing, those things have more of a chance than any of us three. Any of us three. So let's not be a bit too proud about ourselves now. So, let's talk about the characteristics. Yes. Yes, hate them equally. Hate them equally as you would hate Griffith. That's what I do. That's what I do. I hate everyone equally. I am an equal opportunity hater. I am an equal opportunity anti. I anti absolutely everyone, making me a fan of no one, making me the ultimate one. So let's go for the characteristics. And here you have Paramecia. Paramecia, which is something that you can find in brackish waters. Very easy to find. This is bacteria. Bacteria. Bacteria is already the plural form of bacterium. This is bacteria, and as you can see, the average eukaryote is equal opportunity shitposter. Indeed, I am. Indeed, I am. But as you can see, the average eukaryote is actually extremely big. We are so big compared to bacteria, because our nucleus and anatomy and the mega energy that we make allow us to afford to be this big. We have a lot of structure that allow our cells to be extremely big. Paramecia is about 50 micrometers across, which is about average for eukaryotes. Bacteria, they go from 200 nanometers to 2 micrometers, so about 200 nanometers to 2000 nanometers. That's about the size. Very smaller. I mean, smaller than 200 nanometers, so 0.2 micrometers is like the limit of what we could consider life. Like they are very small, extremely compact. They are very hard to find. So they have an average size. Nothing more than 10 micrometers. After that, the anatomy of the bacterium begins to break down. It begins to really hit some limits. But we are big. We are big. I wanted to put a Sana there, but it would be really weird. It would be weird to put a Tsukumo Sana. We also have principal characteristics that is found in our name. We have a nucleus. This nucleus is usually this nucleus is usually surrounded by cisterns. Cisternae. These cisterns are made of how is it called again? I don't know the name of this organelle. I don't know the name of this organelle in English. How is it called again? It is... Okay, it's literally the same in English. Okay, it's the endoplasmic reticulum. It is a granulated endoplasmic reticulum, which allows for maturation of proteins. But as you can see, there's some balls there, and those balls are ribosomes. Those balls are little ribosomes, and those are the things that writes protein. They are literally 3D printers. There are little 3D printers inside the cells. They get on the plasmic reticulum. They print the protein at the same time that the protein enters the ribosome, matures, get out. That's how it works. It also has some messaging and addressing to the Golgi, but that's another matter entirely. This nucleus has a double membrane. It has two membranes made of lipids. It is a little bubble of lipids. Lipids and protein, as you can see, because they are nucleopores. Those nucleopores are literally made of proteins. They go across the double membrane. And this membrane has its own composition. Not only does it have its own composition, it is the siege of genetic information. This genetic information is compacted into chromosomes. It has all the DNA. This is where you make the RNA that becomes protein. That's how you create life. That's how life works. Boom. And it is generally at the center of the cells. We like to represent it at the center of the cells. For animal cells, it is at the very center of the cell. For plant cells, it is at the very periphery. It is stuck to the membrane. After that, it depends, depending on the anatomy of the cell. Just know that if it's a eukaryote, it has a nucleus. It is not a eukaryote, it doesn't have a nucleus. That's it. That's it. That's what the name does. Eukaryotes also have two other very important organelles that I've touched upon in another parasite lesson. It is the mitochondria and the chloroplasts. Since we are equal opportunity haters, we are going to hate them both equally, so we are going to present them both equally. Even though chloroplasts are present in a minority of eukaryotes, they are in archaeociliates. I don't remember the name anymore. They are present. Where's the name? Shit. We are present in what does photosynthesis, and trust me, it is a minority. It is an absolute minority. Maybe if I look at the thumbnail. Maybe if I look at my thumbnail, because there's a good one in the thumbnail. Yeah, Archaeoplastida. In Archaeoplastida. You have the plants, you have the algae, you have all of that does through photosynthesis. Say it with me, mitochondria. Mitochondria is indeed the powerhouse of the cell, of the eukaryotic cell. It is what does respiration. What is respiration? It is using an energy-dense molecule in order to create ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is the power source of the cell. It is the energy of all cells. The chloroplasts is the siege of photosynthesis, which use inorganic materials, as we have seen before, as we have seen in the previous parasite lesson. Inorganic materials, making it a lithophage, a lithotroph, a lithotrop, and it literally uses quantum mechanics in order to move electrons and make energy dense molecules that are then going to be used by the mitochondria to do respiration. That is exactly right, Doc. I see that you're following. We wouldn't be saying this if an eternity ago an acyl bacteria didn't create oxygen to kill all the others. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. Because the byproduct of the chloroplast is O2 and sometimes radical oxygen. And let me tell you that it is fucking awful for the cell. If you die, it's because you breathe. If your DNA is damaged, most of the time, it's because you're breathing. Breathing usually was, at first, a detoxification mechanism. It was a detoxification mechanism used to, well, detoxify dioxygen, making it non-reactive with the rest of the cell. Thing is, reactive species are full of energy, so we've used it since to make energy, creating a whole lot of bigger cells. Why are we bigger? Because we breathe. Why do we breathe? To detoxify oxygen, eventually making energy. Why did we do that? Because a long time ago, an asshole decided to make oxygen to create sugar. Indeed. So please, Blame blue algae for that. Blame cyanobacterias. Blame cyanobacteria, so cyan algae, cyan bacterias. Not cyano for cyanide, no, it's cyanobacteria for cyan, the color blue, blue-green of chlorophyll. Blame all of them for the modern world. The respiration and its consequences has been a disaster for for the living world. The advent of breathing and its consequences have been a disaster for the living kingdom. What it also has, what Eukaryota also have, is a cytoskeleton. Since they don't have, usually most of them, except if you count plants, because plants are assholes, they don't have a capsule. I mean, cells don't have capsules, they have walls, but that's different. They have a skeleton then. To keep their shape, they have a skeleton. This skeleton uses energy in order to move, creating the shape of the cell. This shape can move, it is dynamic. Sometimes it isn't. But it allows the cell to move. It also allows it to do some funky stuff, like what you call it? Phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is if I open paint, and I'm going to open it. Phagocytosis. Let me open paint. Let me put paint here. Let me then. Stock and then capture. Where is it? Capture. Here. Okay, phagocytosis is basically you have a bit of food here, or the bacteria, because phagocyte you have a lot of immune cells that use that. You have your big ass immune cell. It detects. So you have a bit of food here. The bit of food here goes and find a receptor or anything like an antigen, etc., etc. The receptor is excited. So what does the thing do? What does the cell does? It uses its cytoskeleton. It moves it in order to do that. Because it's just a little fat sack of water and a sack of water and lipids. So it doesn't really have any consistency. It is extremely liquidy, so we can easily do that. Imagine that it's that, but in 3D. So you have this little pouch. If it were in 3D, you would have like a cone that would be forming there. You would have some kind of cone that would be forming with a bit of food here and the receptor. And then, when it meets, it has a lot, and I mean a lot, of supremely complicated stuff that happens. Receptors upon receptors, and biochemical stuff that does it, that the membrane fuses. And then, it retracts. And when it retracts inside of the cell. Like that. And then, like that. And this pouch, we use zome usually in biology. So this phagosome, so this pouch made by phagocytosis, is going to take all of the acid that is present here. There's acid pumps present there that are going to be installed, that are going to be here and are going to import protons, literal protons, from the environment, and also enzymes. with the mouse it's hard to actually write, and enzymes to break down the stuff. And it's going to become a lysosome, so the pouch where you do lysis, where you break down stuff. Lysis literally means breaking down stuff, so you do lysis there. It is the lysosome. And that's what having a cytoskeleton is used for. It is also used for something extremely different that we are going to talk about later. Don't worry, it's a surprise tool. It's a surprise tool that we're going to use later, as Mickey Mouse said. But you can imagine that shape-shifting, which is literally the power of all the cells that I present here, is extremely useful. It makes the cell extremely resistant. It also makes extremely useful. But now you ask, how did we obtain the color here? And I'm sure that you don't ask that at all. You just want to say, oh, please make it stop. I got out of school and now I have to listen to that. Fucking play Armored Core and Blasphemous. What the fuck are you doing, you? What the fuck are you doing, you scroats? You're not even female. Why would I even listen to you? Because female sometimes like nerdy stuff. And because I try to make it accessible. But here are two things. These two photos are here also for another thing that I wanted to talk about. And it's in colors in microscopy. So as you can see, here are colors that we use by using fluorescence microscopes. And fluorescence microscope, they do exactly what I said. They are microscope that use fluorescence. So what they do is that they shoot a laser and we put chemicals in the cells that act at a certain length wave. Women can be nerd too. That is very true. That's why women like nerdy stuff. Some women like nerdy stuff, and women can be nerd too. But I didn't do that for women. I did that for everyone. I did that for absolutely everyone. I love nerdy women, and for one, I'm going to be agreeing with 4chan. For one, I'm going to be agreeing with VT. I love hags. Oh no! Oh no! I said the word. My video is dead. Or at least I'm recording it. At least I'm recording it. You know. Oh well. I'm going to talk about colors, and the thing is, we use a laser. This laser has one wavelength. We analyze this one wavelength, and then the thing absorbs it, has a return. I'm going to put it into a drawing again. I should have prepared it. That. I'm going to put it into a drawing again. So the main principle of fluorescence microscopy. I mean, I'm a nerd. I would only like a nerdy woman. Like only a nerdy woman can keep up with my nerd stuff. What we do is we have a molecule that interests us. It is not naturally fluorescent. So either we take a molecule that is fluorescent, but is going to use the principle of fluorescence. We put the molecule here. It's going to react to a certain length wave, for example, ultraviolets here. And because it reacts, it is going to put a length wave that is of lower length wave due to the energy that is lost. Tuck, tuck, tuck. And boom. We obtain a color that we are going to analyze because it is one wavelength and one wavelength only. We're going to analyze. It comes out as white. But since it's another data, it's one set of data. We can put we can put a color on it. Because if we only see white, black and white, it's not good. I mean, sometimes you can actually see the stuff, like actually see the stuff all in action. But you see it one at a time, and it's not what I showed you. It's not what I showed you, because what I showed you is a lot of colors, at least 3 colors here. One marker of proteins, because for at least one protein, since we see it in the plasma membrane and on the cytoskeleton. One marker of the nucleus, and one marker of the cytoskeleton, which is a very peculiar type of protein. And you see that those colors are entirely artificial because we can make them any color that we want. It's just like by standard and definition, you're going to put blue for the nucleus. By definition. After that, you're completely free, even though it is like the way you can differentiate the best usually, and what is conventional is blue, green, red. Blue, green, red. After that, it depends on your fantasies. But I'm going to explain a really simple stuff of physics. Here. I'm going to explain the really simple stuff of physics and fluorescence. You have 3 ways to expel energy, because you have 3 ways to basically do heat. Molecules, so this little bit of shit right there, have 3 ways to expend energy. They can basically vibrate. When they vibrate, it's basically heat. I mean, really, not really, depends. When they're fixed in a solid, they vibrate. They can move, which is also a way to have thermal energy. So they can also turn, they can move, and then they can radiate. So they can create photons to radiate energy. Usually, what we do in a state of nature is we have one basal state. Obviously, why do we just why did they just collectively agree on coloring it? Because blue, green, red is the best way to have, because our cones in our head see blue, green, red. That is the basis of our vision. The basis of our vision is to see one cone in blue. You have the whole spectrum of light, and we have one in blue, one in green, one in red. And all the colors in between are found here. So if you want to discriminate a color really well, you go for blue, green, red, like the pixels on your screen. Because you're never going to see the difference. Otherwise, you take other colors, but it's weird. I mean, it works if you have more than 3 colors. Usually, you don't try to take more than 3 colors. Otherwise, you do like a table. Otherwise, you do a table where you mark what's the coloration, what is the coloration and the stuff, the conditions. So maybe condition 1, condition 2, condition 3, and then you have the photo with only in red and only in black and white. But if we want to take a beautiful picture for presentations, we want to discriminate as much as possible. And that's what we do. But I'm going to explain very simply the principle of why we're using lasers. It's because you have a basal state here of energy that we're going to call 0. Then you have energy 1, energy 2, energy 3, energy 4, for example. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here's the thing, intermediate states that you find here are basically just vibration, so they don't count. If you want to put a photon and put it into energy 1, you have to put a photon of the exact same wavelength as the energy that would need to be put from energy 0 to the state of energy 1. So E0 to E1 to obtain a reaction. And then, because nature wants to be in the most basic form of energy, in the lowest form of excitement, it's going to spit out another photon right there, and this photon is going to be one exact same wavelength, which is going to be at a loss compared to the way that you put it up and then down. It's going to be slightly lower. It's going to be lower, maybe slightly, maybe not, but the energy is not going to be exactly the same. At least the wavelength. And even if it was, even if it was undistinguishable, we wouldn't take it, because we want to be able to easily discriminate. This is the job of the scientist. You want to have different, easy to understand conditions to do to apply logic easily in order to be able to discriminate and make laws and more likely rules in biology. There's no laws in biology, there's rules. And discriminates. And if you want to go from energy 0 to energy 2, it's the same. You put energy from energy 2, it's going to go to energy 0, or maybe energy 1. But it's going to do it in very select quantities, quanta of energy, quantum mechanics, quantum physics. So we are literally using quantum physics in order to make beautiful images. This was my TED Talk. And one of them really does. Become blue when you actually see it. And it's DAPI. It's the one that go on the DNA. What DAPI does is it basically goes. I'm going to draw it again. What DAPI does is that you have DNA and you have a way that it twists. It has a way that it twists there. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect spiral. It has one major groove and one minor one in alternance. DAPI, what it does is that it goes inside the minor groove. It absorbs light, it fluoresces. So because it detects DNA, it's going to detect the nucleus. And because it detects the nucleus, it's going to detect cells. It can capture live cells and dead cells, but we usually don't do it for live cells. Capturing live cells is not that efficient. We're not really interested. Usually what we can see, we fix it. We fix the cells using paraffin and other products in order to make them not decompose and have exactly what we want at the instant T that we want. Because live cells usually they die. They don't like to be observed. They die. They don't like to be put in conditions that are not their chosen conditions. And obviously, when we want to observe them, we're going to observe them at conditions that are comfortable for a human and for electronics. So live cells, it happens, but way less. We try to fix them to try to look for something, especially since we cannot, even as they are fixed, the coloration does have problem with breaking down because of the light and the energy that is put into it. So what we do is that we take great care to not observe too much. There's a phenomenon that is called light bleaching, that is called bleaching. A coloring molecule is extremely expensive, especially since most are not like DAPI, do not have a convenient location to be put on something. So we use antibodies that are fixed with the thing. I should have done something else. I should have thought about that. I should have thought that we'd want something more. But yeah, for example, we use antibodies. Like a rabbit antibodies against a human, rabbit or goat antibodies against human, whatever, and against another animal. We use the antibody. You have your antibody. It has one link here. I think it has two links here. And we've chemically fixated the molecule here. We buy them commercially. So this is for example the red fluorochrome fluorescence and chrome color. So what does the color on the photo? To make the antibody, we either have a clonal species or we have a polyclonal. Monoclonal species are one antibody only that are going to go into one antigen only, one specific part of the molecule. We have polyclonals, and polyclonals are basically just animal serum that we need to sacrifice in order to take the blood and the antibodies. So we have that. We also and because of the light, this can break down. Because of that, we need to take them into the fridge. We need to actually capture them into the fridge because we need to sacrifice an animal and or more animals or create a whole lines of cells to produce them being absolutely identical and be sure that they are completely one and the same and specific to one single region. They cost a lot. I remember that when I did my lab's work, I must have costed, in 6 months, I must have used like tens of euros of equipment and a vial of that of about 100 microliter of that can cost 600 euros. And that's the simplest one. Because we can go even further. This can be something else that is more common to be fixated to another antibody. To other antibodies that are going to detect the stuff. Oh yeah. To make it, because it can be a molecule that is very rare, so you take the molecule that is very rare and you want to amplify the light, well, you go there. Because they have multiple of those, they bright shiner. They are shinier. Because the more of those, they go shinier. We can go even further. We can go into a stuff where we go, and this is rarer. This is not for live cells. This is not for cells. We can go there. And this is the thing that is fixed. Then we took a solution. So the molecule circulates, it captures it, and then we put it, and when we put it the antibody, and then we put the antibody, another antibody here, to do the color. So because this thing circulates, we basically are not interested in any of those. Well, it's not really circulates. We put the liquid, we let it rest, and then we put it, and when we drain the liquid and all the other molecules, we wash, and then we put the thing. And that's called an ELISA. That's called an ELISA protocol. But first you have to put your antibodies and wash them and all that. I worked in an R&D project that wanted to make a specific ELISA. It costs an arm and a leg. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about colors. Yeah, but that's how most colors works. You know how colors works in microscopy. You know how colors works in microscopy now. Man, when I'm going to do the supercut, I'm going to select so much better images. Oh yeah. Sorry. Eukaryotes have one last anatomical, quote-unquote, anatomical characteristic. And for that, I need to ask one of my good friends, Takeshi. What is the last great anatomical difference of eukaryotes compared to the rest of life? Yep, that's right. That is right. I'm going to let you watch. This is evolution, my friends. This is what the primordial eukaryote was thinking about. Before the whole mitochondria accident, before the whole oxygen accident, this was the life of eukaryotes. This is their very original innovation. This is their innovation. This is what defines. This is what defines eukaryotes, even if they don't have mitochondria. Well, even the ancestors of that. Meiosis. It is meiosis and sexual reproduction. What is sexual reproduction? Well, you take one healthy adult individual. Get out of here, you belong in a garbage can. One healthy adult individual has a set number of chromosomes inside of their nucleus. What happens when you have a mitosis? So the classic way. Let me just find again the. So I'm getting tired of this music. I'm getting tired of this music. I'm going to put what is alone? Yeah, alone can work. Alone can work. Yeah, alone can work. Okay, so you have one organism. Holy shit! It makes me think of the student that I have to teach that. My other students, my IRL students. So you have one organism. It has 2 chromosomes. Let's say that it has 2 chromosomes. It's easy that way. It wants to split. Problem is, those chromosomes, they have a different set of information. You need those chromosomes. You need red and blue in order to have a complete organism that is able to live. So it cannot split. It cannot split. It would die. It would lose information. Like, it would lose information. Let's say that this is essential for breathing, this is essential for growing, for eating. It won't work. So it has a phase G1, where it just works. Then you have an S phase. Shoop. It has an S phase called synthesis. And at the end of the S phase, what it does is, it said that, well, I have, like, exactly... It's alright, Tracer, it's alright, Tracer. It's alright. You don't need to contribute. So, you have... Why are chromosomes represented by X's usually? It's because of that. Because it says, okay, I'm just going to double the information that is present on my chromosomes. I'm going to copy the chromosomes. I'm going to copy the DNA that is present in my chromosomes. I mean, at first, okay, so if I want to show you a true story, the first thing that it does is not to have the chromosomes. It's not really to make the chromosomes. The first thing that it does is that it's a man or a girl. The cell is a man or a girl, So the problem is that its room, its nucleus, is a fucking circus. She has regions that are compacted, regions that are not compacted. It is differentially compacted, and less compacted means that it's going to produce protein. More compacted means that the gene is going to be completely silenced. But that's a lesson for another day. But the first thing that it does is that it cleans its room. The first lesson that it does is that it cleans its room, it compacts. You have 2 whole meters of DNA inside of each and every one of your cells. You have 2 fucking meters of DNA inside every single one of your cells. Think about it. Think about the compression. The compression from the compression between the diameter of a strand of DNA to a chromosome is 200,000. I mean, the length is 200,000. It is the compression. It is an insane amount of compression that happens. So it creates a zip file. It finally cleans its room, like Uncle Brian Peterson, Uncle Peterson would ask of it. Cleans its room, copies it. I mean, copies it, cleans its room. Copies it, cleans its room, because it's never present. It's never present like that. I mean, only at the very end. Only at the very end, because what it does then is that it aligns them. So I cheated, it's already aligned. I mean, it's not aligned. So after the S phase, so synthesis phase, it goes into growing 2 phase, where it checks everything. It has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. Every single error could contribute to the death of both daughter cells. To both of the daughters of the cell. Every single error could contribute to a fatal error in the working of the cell that could kill them both or it during the mitosis. So it has to prepare very carefully. It has a set of keys that are very carefully activated one by one, checked, rechecked, triple checked, and then finally it's going to do a thing. So after G2 is exactly like that. After G2 it's exactly like that. But it's prepared. And then you have the M phase for mitosis phase. And the mitosis phase, how do I explain the mitosis phase? Well, it divides. But it divides in very particular, how to say, an order. It divides in an order. Why in an order? Because you have the same amount of chromosomes. Remember, that is exactly the same thing. It just doubles the amount of information. It is the same chromosome. It is the same chromosome. You have the M phase, and at the end of the M phase, basically, so you have the M phase. I'm going to call it the M phase because it needs to be completed, and then that. This is the classic reproductive scheme, because you have that, but you have another cell. You also have another cell that is in ideal conditions the exact twin of the other one. In ideal conditions, the other cell is the exact twin of the other one. So what is the M phase exactly? Oh shit, that's not the one. That's not the one that I wanted. Okay, that's better. That's not the one that I wanted. Now, what happens exactly during the M phase? That is not a mystery. That is a high school biology class at this point. Oh god, that is a high school biology class at this point. Okay. Let me show you. So, I needed to drink a bit because my throat was parched. Let's go. You have your cell that is in G2, so in pro phase. Silly question, but doesn't the DNA ever get tangled because it's so long? How does it neatly lobs itself into chromosome without any knocks getting in the way? Well, it's because it's always compressed in a bit. Okay, so to answer your question very succinctly, DNA is not free. It is not a. You know how you can have more testicular torsions if your balls are free? There's a condition in which your balls are free inside of the ball sack, and that creates even more risk of testicular torsion. So, DNA is accompanied by a whole lot of protein, and it's very, very organized. I say that it's disorganized, but it's very organized. What happens is that DNA has something called histones to it. So I'm going to put a strand of DNA, but I want it to be thick. I want it to be extra thick, right there. But yes, sex is extremely complex. It's so complex you could actually die. I mean, it does happen. Remember, you are considered infertile if you do not have an exact amount of spermatozoa. If you don't have a good quality of sperm, you are technically infertile. It doesn't mean that you don't produce anything. Depends on the quality, depends on the quantity. Most of them will die. All of you are miracles. Remember that. All of you have already won more than the lottery to exist. But you have 4 histones. So basically histone 1, histone 2A, 2B, and I think 3. And I think there's a 4. Well, there's 1, 2A, 2B. I don't remember anymore. Let me take a look. Let me just take a look. Like histones. Because it's a yeah, that's way better. That's way better than what I could explain. Okay, so I just want to look at the image. I just want to look at the image. Just want to look at the image. I just want to look at the image. Thank you very much. Okay, so I found a good one. I found a very good one. Tac 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 tac. Good. So you have your chromosomes, and then you have the whole compaction, and you have the chromatin. The chromatin is the unit in which DNA is usually present. Is either relaxed, called euchromatin, so true chromatin, the one that is actually going to be translated and touched upon by all the proteins in the cells, all the proteins for traduction, so RNA, gene production, etc., etc. And you have heterochromatin, which is the one that is extremely compacted, so nearly a chromosome at this point. And in that you have the histones. So histone 1, 2A, 2B, 3 and 4. 3 and 4, I guess, and always present in an octade. So you have 2A to B, 3 and 4, and then you have 2A to B, 3 and 4. If I remember right, I am sure that I'm wrong. I'm sure that when I will make the supercut, I will be wrong, and there's going to be me in editing doing an explanation. Those histones have tails that dictate through chemical signals if they are to be compacted or not. So you have closed chromatin and heterochromatin, which is densely packed, and closed transcription cannot occur. So RNA you cannot make RNA out of it, and open chromatin. And because you have all of these histones, DNA is always extremely compacted. So it's always extremely thick. It doesn't get tangled up. It's also because chemical repulsions. You have to understand that DNA is very negatively charged. Histones are usually very positively charged. So they attract each other. This chemical signal, when open chromatin, diffuse the positive charge, making it more open. Here it basically doesn't do that. But what happens when you have something that is what happens with magnets? Magnets of the same polarity, they repulse themselves. So technically DNA to DNA cannot really attract itself. It cannot get really tangled because it electrochemically repulses itself. That's how it works. I mean that is so simple. In fact, that I should have gone with explanation already. DNA is just negatively charged. It doesn't really get tangled up. Yeah. Why did I do that already? But yeah. Here you have your cell, which is in prophase. So we are in M. So we are in phase M. So you're in prophase. And you have all your thing like that. It's compacted and all that. It's compacted. You have the metaphase. The metaphase is when you have the chromosome that happen. The chromosome compact themselves. So it's not really G1, G2, etc., etc. They compact themselves. They do their stuff. They are very happy. They are very happy. They do their stuff. So you have those chromosomes. They are free falling. They are free floating. You know, inside the nucleus. Still inside the nucleus though. So I should do something like that. Should do something like that. But we consider that this is a nucleus. Until a certain point happens. So this is prophase. This is metaphase. So metaphase, like meta, like the Facebook thing. So this is the metaphase. And writing with a mouse is a fucking horrible. I do not say it's not a cool thing. So this is the prophase. Then you have something called the anaphase. So what happens with the anaphase? Hello? Oh, shit, it's too small. It's too small. Well, what happens with the anaphase is that your chromosomes are aligned. They are going to align. If they are going to align very precisely, they're going to align like that. Basically, you have a line that is created. You have an equator that is created here that divides the cell in two. And all the chromosomes are going to align like that. And then, in telophase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Yes, in telophase, you have the cytoskeleton. You have the cytoskeleton again. The cytoskeleton again comes. And basically what it does is that it dissolves. So you have the cytoskeleton, you have the centrosome here of the cytoskeleton that takes the chromosomes and it goes in. It works in both ways. Huh? You have to understand it works in both ways. It's going to rip it. It's going to rip the chromosome out of the two chromatids. The two chromatids are going to separate there. Before they were linked covalently. Now they're going to separate. And then it's going to be dragged. They are going to be dragged like that. And that because of an action of the cytoskeleton, the nucleus has completely disappeared. The nuclear membrane has dissolved. And after that, you have... let me go for that, up. Your chromosome that are in the two new cells, and soon after, very soon after in fact, the nuclear membrane is going to reform. It's going to reform, and your DNA is going to recompact again, to distress again. So your cell is going to take again the same characteristic as the other cells. And then they're going to grow into themselves, they're going to reproduce, and you go back into G1 phase. And that's it. That's how reproduction happens. That's how reproduction classically happens for life. That's mitosis, so an asexual reproduction. Now we're going to talk about sex. Oh, hello! Hello, Kuriyama. That's It's nice to see on YouTube. It's nice to see on YouTube. What are you doing here? What are we doing here? So, we're going to talk about meiosis now. So, meiosis, contrary to mitosis. So meiosis is very special because you have about the same phase, G1, G1, S, G2, etc., etc. What else happens? What else happens is that when you have a chromosome that are supposed to separate, you know that as humans, we have two chromosomes. We have pairs of chromosomes, right? So you have always, if I want to show it, we have two red ones, like that. And we have two green ones. Two blue ones. This is not green. Like that. So what happens in meiosis? Normally the pairs are not separated. In mitosis, the pairs should be like that. They align like that. For the in the equatorial plate of the cell. And they separate that way. So you have tuk, 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 tuk. It separates like that. Separates like that. It's very easy. It's very fancy. It works wonders. So I could simply go whoop like that. It's way better. It works wonders. For these ones, it's different. The cell says, Holy shit, I'm tired of doing that. I do that. I'm going to separate the pairs. So while those had a pair of chromosomes, each and every single step of the process had a pair of chromosomes, making it a diploid cell. So for 2 chromosomes, if you were to have Down syndrome, makes it like a triplet of chromosome, making it a triploid for the pair 21. There's also 18 and 13 that exist, although they don't exist. Not that they don't exist. They exist, although they don't exist for long, unfortunately. It causes a lot of miscarry. A lot of miscarry, and even worse than that, if the child actually gets to be born, they don't make it longer than 1 year for 18 and 13. So, you have a pair that separates. So you have 2 new cells with a pair with 1 single chromosome for each of its representation. That is the genius of sex. Why? I'm going to show you. I'm going to make it to make it better. Because you have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, electric blue. Why if meiosis is so good, why didn't make a sequel? Yes, they did. They did make a sequel to meiosis. That is what's important. Because meiosis has a sequel. So you have cell 1, you have the mother cell. You have the big mother cell, the primordial one. And then you have meiosis 1. And meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is weird. It separates the pairs. So I'm going to work with only 1 pair of chromosome. No, 2 pairs. 2 pairs works wonders. It separates the pair. So you have that, and that. Because it separates the pairs, like that, you go to meiosis 2, which is just mitosis, which is just the separation step of mitosis. But again, with only 1 pair, so they are aploid. So with meiosis 2, I'm going to call it M2. Do not think that they're not up. You have genetic information that can go there, and there. You have 4 reproductive cells with only 1 single thing here, and here. 1 single chromosome. And if 2 of those meet, if, for example, you have another individual that has the exact same pair, okay, so like that. That's how meiosis works. Why is it interesting? Well, at first, it allows you to change the chromosome, because you change the chromosome pair. Here you have the exact same chromosome pair. The chromosome pair will not change at all. If you have another individual, you can mix up the chromosome pairs, which we call intrachromosomic change, basically. Intrachromosomic. In French, it's brassage intrachromosomique. I don't know how to call it in English. But you have to know that the genetic exchange is intrachromosomic. And you can exchange pairs of chromosomes, meaning that you can have an answer. You can have different version. For example, you have this one and this one, that are different version of the same gene. So they are always there. They are always there. In the pair, they are identical. And we go for red on this one. We're going to concentrate on only only 2 genes, because it's going to get crazy very fast. It's going to get crazy very fast, like that. Here you have 2 genes. These genes will have to go there, up like that, up. And then let's say that the red one goes with that. But you see that it's not specifically the case. It's not specifically the case. Because it can be another group. it can go with another group, exactly like that, and then that was a violet one, so it was like that, and that, and that. The violet one could have gone. The violet one could have gone with the red one, and the green one could have gone with the indigo one. Why is it important? Because if you have a pair that is absolutely identical, you can have an individual. Let's say that it reproduces with its clone. Let's say that we reproduce it with its clone. So I'm going to need a new one. Let's suppress it. Let's clean the slate. Let's wipe the slate clean. You have two individuals. Two individuals here. They produce the gametes. You remember, we have the green gene for chromosome 1. For 1, we have the green gene, and we have the violet gene. And for chromosome 2, we have the red gene and the indigo one. Well, since there's 4 gametes and there's a lot of things between individual 1 and individual 2, which are clones, so they have exactly the same composition. Well, you can do that, you do that, and you do that. They are going to have both. Because there's 4 possibilities in each one of them. So let me go for 4 entries. One. Okay, there's 4 possibilities for each and every one of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2. I hate working clean. I could work clean. Oh, I could work clean so fast if I only put the tools that I have into use. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So in one of them, remember, we have the green gene, we have the violet gene, we have the green gene. In chromosome 1, we have the violet gene. In chromosome 1, we have the red gene and the indigo gene in chromosome 2. So in 1 and in 2. So the possibilities are that you can have green, 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 and then violet, violet, violet. Seems like to have multiple translation, either genetic admixture, intrachromosomal mixing. It's more like intrachromosomal mixing. I'd say intrachromosomal mixing or intrachromosomal tandem duplication. I don't work in English with that. I don't use the English terms, unfortunately. So, I mean, in my usual classes, so I'm completely useless when it comes to that. As long as you understand the idea, and I think that the idea is there. As long as you understand the idea, there's a mixing there that happened. And of course, always there's also the violet one that can happen here and here. But since there's also red, 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 and you have indigo, 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 and indigo. And let's just say that for the sake of argument, let's just say that red is dominant. That blue, that indigo is recessive. So we're going to call them, well, it's big red, and if you wanted to go into genetics, you would call it big red, so big R, and little r. And those one are codominant, so we're going to call it V and V. V1 and V2, like in ultra kill. So this is going to be, and if there's a mixing, it goes for a phenotype, so characteristic that is V3, that we're going to call V3. if you understand correctly. So mixing V1 and V2 creates V3 because they are codominant. And oh shit. Going there with R creates either big R or little r, because this one is dominant and this one is recessive. That's how it works. So if you go like that, if you mix like that, you have a monozygote. Monozygote means monozygote means that there's only one version of a gene that is present in one individual. You have a pure individual of only green and red. It's going to present itself with a phenotype that is V1 big R. V1 big R. If we go there, it's going to be V1 big R, because there's red here. There's still red. That's important. Red is completely dominant. So each and every time that you're going to see that there's the red gene that is implicated somewhere, you're going to have big R. Even though the indigo can be there. As long as you have R here, big R is going to be there. Big R is going to be what the individual presents, what the living being presents. And then you have V3 that's going to happen here, because it's green and violet. Green and violet is also going to be V3. Here it's V1, big R again, but here it's V1. Here it's V3 and V3. But here it's going to be very interesting because here you have both V2 and little r, which is normally the only place where you're going to see. No. Here you're going to see. Let's say that's green and blue. That's V1 little r. Here you're going to see V3, and since it's red, big R. Here it's V3 little r. Here it's going to be V3 big R again. Again, this is V2 big R, V2 big R. There you're going to have V3 little r, and in here you're going to have V3 V2, and it's big R. So the way the genes are expressed can be very different. They can be extremely different, and as you've seen, it creates just this simple act of meiosis creates a whole lot of different individuals for only 2 genes and 2 versions of these genes. Only 2 genes and only 2 versions of the genes. Think about it. We have 20,000 genes. We have 46 chromosomes as humans. Humans have 46 chromosomes and have 20,000 genes. It is insane. You can create a number of different individuals completely different from their parents. That is miraculous. And each and every one of the parents, sure, are going to present V3R for both of the parents. Both of the parents are going to be V3R. But look at the diversity of the children. Look at the diversity of the descendants. Of course, if green would have been dominant over yellow, it would have presented itself into a 9-3-3-1 dynamic, where you would have 9 only dominant, 3 of the dominant plus recessive, and then 1 where it's only the only one that would express both of the recessive gene. But I wanted to show you that codominance exists. Both that it exists and that it can create a whole lot of diversity. So you have a lot of presets. And then you take into account mutations. And then you take into account another thing entirely that happens during meiosis. Because sex is such a big update that you have another thing that changes the system entirely. You can create whole new chromosomes using only presets. Using only presets, you can create a whole new chromosomes. And that happens during meiosis 1. Because meiosis 1 was one of the biggest updates for life for Eukaryota that ever happened. So let me show you the depth of the feature. The depth of the feature that I've even forgotten how it happens molecularly, because it is insane how it happens. We're going to only use one pair of chromosomes for that. One pair. I'm going to show you how insane it is. You have one chromosome here that present the allele for the green gene. We're going to call it the green gene. The other one of its pair that presents the allele for the violet gene. But we're going to put another thing here. We're going to put a blue allele here. And let's go for yellow allele. Yeah, let's go for yellow. It's absolutely awful to see, but trust me on that. It is the same chromosome. It is the same pair. It is the same pair. They just have different versions of the same gene. Of the same two genes. So what happens is that you can have this. That happens. It is called a chiasma. And it is a process. Okay, so I'm going to put it there. Normally, it should be, you know, at the same length. At the same length. But you have something like that happens. So, and during the separation of the chromosomes, you separate the pair, yes. But after the end of meiosis 1, when normally it should be, you know, it should be normally, it should be simple. It becomes not simple at all. Because you have one chromosome, only one. Yes, only one chromosome. But itself contains diversity. Itself contains change. Because you have yellow gene here. Yellow gene. I said that it was like what? The indigo gene. The blue gene. Doesn't matter. Because now you also have it was the green gene and the violet gene. So you have the green gene here. You have a violet here. And then you have a violet gene here. And you have a green, the allele, the violet allele, and you have a green allele here. It is the same. Those two have the same gene. You have to understand. Those two have the same gene. They're just called for different versions of the same gene. It's different variation of the same gene. So at the end, you've created a whole new chromosome at the end of meiosis 2. You created a whole new chromosome that didn't exist before. This one too. It's completely new. 20,000 genes. 46 chromosomes. Make the calculus. Do your thing. They're the thing too. The thing is, the more it's towards the center, the more the gene will be towards the center, the less the probability of it doing a chiasma is going to be big. So the more it's going to be there, the more it's going to be exchanged. The more it is at the periphery, the more it's going to be exchanged. The less it is, the less it does. The less it's going to be exchanged. The less we're going to find intrachromosomal mixing. So no, it's not intrachromosomal mixing. It's interchromosomal mixing that I was explaining before. And now we have intrachromosomal mixing. And now you have new things. You have new things that happen. And there's no question of recessive or dominant there. It's a whole new gamete. It's a whole new slew of genetic information. It's a whole new preset. The probabilities become insane. The probabilities become insane. And I don't know the probability of having two of the same gametes. I mean, I'm sure this has been calculated. Genetic. Contributing probability of a father. No, I don't want that. What is the probability of the probability that two gametes from the same human woman will be genetically identical, assuming there is no crossing over. So assuming there is no thing of my mechanic, it is 2 to the power of 23. Because remember, there's intrachromosomal mixing. So now let's search. What is 2 to the power of 23? It's this number. If we didn't do, you know, the crossing over and all that. Oh shit. If we didn't do the crossing over and all that, we would have this amount. This amount of possible gametes. With the crossing over, you've made it exponentially bigger. In a human. So there's no way. Like, even if we try as hard as we can, unless you have twins. And even twins are not exactly genetically identical for reasons, but they come from the same gametes. Like, no humans are going to be the same genetically, unless you have a clone. Unless you specifically work for it and make a clone, no humans are going to be the same. It's not possible. It's not possible. It simply isn't. By pure law of probability, it is not possible. Frick mish. This. So this is why the sex update has been such an enormous update for the whole of life. For the whole of Eukaryota. So much so that bacteria had to imitate it. The sex update is... Yeah, it's mathematically impossible. It is mathematically impossible that there's two humans of the same... two genetically similar humans. Now, two genetically identical humans that appear independently. Absolutely impossible. It doesn't happen. It is so small that we can say it's impossible. It is so small that I don't even know if we know the number, if we include the crossing over. If we include the crossing overs. Remember, 20,000 genes. Also, another characteristic, but this time it's about the chemistry of the Eukaryota, because I did say before that the Eukaryota were, let's say, less complex biochemically than bacteria. While I still stand by this argument, sometimes you have to give the glory to what has it, to what deserves it. So yes. Yeah, even if the clone could have possibly... I mean, it could have an existential crisis of a revolution, but, you know, twins. I mean, Fukoko and Mokoko, they are exactly as they should be. They're exactly as they should be. And twins can be very different, because you have something else. Different environments allow for the expression of different genes. Stress-induced gene, heat-induced genes, cold-induced genes, arousal-induced genes. The stress of not having enough to eat, etc., etc., etc. It like epigenetic is not transmissible. It is hardly transmissible. But the expression of those same genes would make individuals that even if they live the same life, if they are not exactly identical, if they don't think identically, that are going to, this is going to reveal different genes expression. For example, nutrition. If someone were to eat better, or more balanced for someone else of the exact identical genetic makeup, you could have different expressions of genes, and as such, different individuals. Genetically. I'm not even talking about psychologically or even physically, because physically, like, I see a lot of people that misunderstand biology, that are trying to say that, you know, eugenetic hasn't been done right. No, I just proved that epigenetics, eugenetics does not work. Simply does not work. One, because if you select individuals for one single characteristic, that is, well, and I said characteristic, not even gene, characteristic, that is going to present itself, only like externally, you're going to select for quite a few other genes, even if you don't want them, for quite a few other genes, and you're not going to exactly select for what you want. And even then, you're going to sacrifice things. You're going to sacrifice things because you're going to, if you try to do that, you're going to create a lack of the genetic diversity in your genetic makeup. And what is going to happen is, if that you have a disease of your quote-unquote genetically pure people, you're going to have everyone be killed by it, because we are going to be so genetically diverse that a lot of genetic disease can be carried by healthy individuals, because we have two sets of the same gene, recessive genes. You know, recessive genes. If we have two sets of them, if the one that is inactivated is recessive, you can healthily carry it and transmit it to your descendants without any problem. The problem is if you have two individuals that have the same allele, the same diseased allele, the same diseased version of the gene. Like I said, there's a version that is the Habsburg. Indeed the Habsburg. You're going to have a lot of exaggeration. If your genetic tree looks like a fucking circle, you're going to have a lot of problem. You're going to have a lot of problem on your hand. So no, eugenism does not work mechanically. It does not work, and it's counterproductive to the whole sex update of evolution. The sex update was there for a reason, to mix things up. You need to mix things up for it to work fine. Evolution is trial and error. And unless we have power of genetic whatever, blah 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 blah, demigod, etc., etc., it is always going to be trial and error. You're never going to find another better way. All of our mutations that were to us, such as one testicle having ass. But yeah. Also, yeah, I wanted to say that eukaryotes are biochemically unique because we are the masters of the serine production. The production of serine molecules. Of the serine family of molecules, which, if you are inclined into organic chemistry, 5, 10, 9, 8, 13, and 14, so C5, C8, C9, C8, C13, C14 are asymmetrical. That means that they don't have anything that is identical each and every way to any other of the carbons that are linked to them. So it's good. So you have a rotation plan on this one thing. You can create different versions of the same molecule, acting only on those special things. And we can produce them. We can produce them as eukaryotes. Every single eukaryotes are able to produce that. For example, cholesterol. Cholesterol is something that you produce to keep energy, yes, but also as a precursor of other hormones. As a precursor of other hormones, including cortisol, the hormone of stress, and other hormones, including testosterone. Estrogen is also one. Progesterone is also one. We have a lot of hormones that require us to have cholesterol, so we produce it, we make it, and we make hormones with it. Vitamin D2 is something that we actually do produce, not in a good quantity though. Try as I might, one can never have two beings that are biochemically identical. That is true. That is very true. And I see that, oh, finally, the YouTube and the chat are finally aligned. Thank fuck, the production is truly live now. What the heck? And so eukaryotes are extremely diverse. And humans are there in Opisthokonta. But not only are humans there, so are plants, so are mushrooms, and so are our most our relatives from or like nearest unicellular relatives. They are here too. We are kind of insignificant now, do we? Remember, the tree of life. The tree of life is here, and I said before, if I open the parasite class 1. Okay, if I open the parasite class 1, I need to just a second. I need to actually save this thing. I need to actually save this one. I need to actually save it. Okay, it's saved. Okay, so if I open parasite class 1, and remember parasite class 1? Yeah, it's here. I need to parasite class 1. Yeah, it's not parasite class 1 though. I want you to open parasite class 1. Hello. Class 3, class 1. Thank you. At least with eukaryotic being, try to find completely biomechanically logical being is the definition of insanity. Yes, and with bacteria too, because bacteria have something else that I wanted to show afterward in my special for bacterias, in my show special bacteria, and it's that with bacteria you have something else, that is even crazier. Because bacteria have an ego problem, so they need to be biochemically, not biomechanically. Biomechanics is different, because biomechanics is mechanics, so you know, bone structure, muscle, and all that, how it works, and the physical aspect, you know, the heart physical, so motion and all that, motion resistance and all that. But biochemically, bacteria can do that. They can say, "Hello, I am Clostridium difficile. Hello, I am E. coli. How are you? Let me show you." Yup. Transmit a plasmid. A plasmid, like in yes, it's exactly the same name as in Bioshock, has a reproduction cassette, has a traduction cassette, has a gene, and in biology, to actually select, we have resistance gene here. So you have a whole lot of genes in one little circle, and we transmit it to say hello. To fucking say hello, bacteria are different species. They transmit genes just like that, just like that. Horizontal transmission of genes, horizontal transmission of genes, just like that. Also, there's a virus, there's a little virus. If it actually infects a bacteria that is completely ineffectual, like completely how to say, inoffensive. A bacteria that is completely inoffensive. It is in our lower gut. It is in our guts. If it infects it with its own genes, it makes it go haywire. So it goes. I have the Majin sign from Dragon Ball now. I have a Majin sign from Dragon Ball now. So me and my descendants, we're going to give you cholera. You know, cholera, one of the most destructive disease of the 19th century. That's because a virus infected a bacteria and gave it a gene that is making it insane. Because of Majin bacteria, and I think that's Clostridium difficile. Let me verify that information. Bacteria. No, Clostridium difficile. Clostridium difficile. Clostridioids difficile. Gram positive. Anaerobies. Pololates. Yes. No, is it the one for tetanus? I think it's the one for tetanus. Yeah, Clostridium difficile is actually tetanus. So cholera bacteria. Vibrio cholerae. Yeah. Cholera virus. Virus. Imagine bacteria is actually desatanic. Yeah, it's pretty much, yes. It very much go Majin. But it has an X name. It has an X. It was super complicated name. Free swimming, yes, elongation, septation. I don't care. I just want the cholera virus, because there's a virus for cholera. It's X. I don't know. There's X a number. Cholera. Maybe it's going to be present in the Wikipedia page. Virus. Come on. I don't see anything. This is too advanced. Fuck. Vibrio bacterio. Because this is one of the motility except drag force. No. No. Bacteriophage. Yes, cholera. Cholera and bacteriophage. Let me see. Cholera. Yes. Water. Physiopathology. Yes, I don't care. Obligation. Yes, I don't care. The Pasteur Institute. Imported in France. I don't care. Fibrio cholera. Yes. Reservoir. Dynamic. I don't care. I want the bacteriophage. Okay. Oh. Bacteriophage and cholera. Genetic material. Transfer du gène de la toxine. Yes! Finally! I found it! Fucking found it! Look at that. That's how it works. It's not. The flash does not look like that. Because if I were to do that, and go into Google image. Fucking finally! Disagree. I don't like this source, but it goes well. So this bacteriophage that is literally something that Elon Musk would name one of his child. Give a gene for the toxin of cholera. It doesn't give a bacteria, but it gives a toxin and it integrates it into the genome of the bacteria. So it makes it imagine bacteria. So bacteria, they have their whole thing going on. They saw the sex update and they say to themselves, yeah, we're going to do the pili update. The pili update and the virus update. Also to be fair, the eukaryotes also have the virus updates. This is why, for example, some animals have a placenta. This is why the majority of mammals have a placenta now. It's because of a virus that had the gene, a horrible virus that had a gene that is now used by the human body to make a placenta. And the placenta is the result of the fetus. It is tissue from the fetus that is basically parasitizing the mother. That is dissolving the uterus, that is forcibly rerouting the blood, rerouting the blood, and then afterward you have, the symbiotic, quote-unquote symbiotic link between a mother and the child. It's a complete parasite. I mean, it's a parasite, but it works. It works well. Let me try to see. Where is the thing for life? Where is my thing for life? Yes, there it is. So you see, this is one of the quick domains. Is that eukaryotes? Where are eukaryotes there? Because normally we have Eukaryota. Eukaryota. Archaea, and in the terms of Archaea, you have one of those right there that is so small, really small, is eukaryotes. One of those is the eukaryotes. In the eukaryotes, like I'm going to show then. In the eukaryotes, there's that. Humans are here. And I'm going to show it with the humans. Mammals are going to be exactly in the same in the same place. We are just one amongst trials of what life should be. And we are far from being superior to any one of them. Every single one of us is an experiment. You reproduced, you succeeded the experiment. And if we went by the definition that evolution, like a quote-unquote quantity of evolution happens each time that you reproduce, bacteria are way farther away than us in the pipeline of evolution. Way farther away. Remember, a bacteria divides every 8 minutes. E. coli at least. E. coli, which is used as one of the main models for bacteria, divides every 8 minutes. Every 8 minutes you have one new generation. If it is literally for me the only objective metric in which you could quote unquote quantify evolution, and by that metric bacteria are winning. They are winning. But then there's also the Opisthokonta are defined by the fact that they have one flagellum at the back. This flagellum is very different from the flagellum that you would find in a bacteria for one reason, and it is that this flagellum / cilium is engulfed by the plasma membrane. It is inside the plasma membrane of the cell. The flagellum is part of the cell. It is part of the cell. There is still what I'm going to call the skin on the skin of the cell is still present on the flagellum and surrounds it. And it is a construction made of the cytoskeleton, as you see using electronic microscopy. Using electronic microscopy, you can see the pairs of actin, the axonems that interact in pairs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9, and then 2 of us. You have leaking proteins here, and using a micromotor at the base body. Using the triplet, and where you have triplets microtubule, but it becomes doublets after a while. It becomes a doublet here. It rotates. Not only does it rotate, it can also do other movements. It can also do other pretty cool movements, and that's how it moves. And you say to yourself, okay, it's exactly like a sperm cells. It's exactly like sperm cells. For a moment, it tracks. Eukaryota, they reproduce, they have sex. The cells need to move. Not only do they have a flagellum, maybe it's like a sperm cell. Not exactly. Opisthokonta don't really make the difference. Like for example, a flagellum can be used to drag yourself. You know, like doing like swimming, doing the puppy dance. Like it drags you like an arm when you swim, or it pushes you like a leg when you swim. So it really depends. You can have the flagellum on front if you wanted to. It truly makes no difference in the way you move. It does. Mechanically it does. But in the speed, not really. It doesn't really make a difference in the speed in which you move. And there is something beautiful. Beautiful, absolutely magnificent. And then you have the central microtubule, you have the dynein arms. The dyneins are things that move. They are things that move on the cytoskeleton. You have the nexin that link the proteins. You have the radial spoke, you know, spokes, like in a freaking boat. And also you have cilia that are constructed in about the same thing, but they just do their thing. They just do their thing. But there's so much of them that you move. The French flagellum. Oh, because. Yeah, and after that, this is the part where I visit Wikipedia articles and comment them on stream because I'm too down to do my work within the other time frame. Yeah, I missed the deadline, so we're going to look at We're going to look at Wikipedia articles for Opisthokonta, all of them, because as you see, it's us. Even in our group, even in Opisthokonta, and let me show you, Opisthokonta was right there. Even here. Animals are here! That's us! Those are plants. No, where are plants? Are those only holozoa? No, here's holomica. Fungi and cryptozoa. Okay, so the mic. Oh yes, no, it's us. It's just us. It's just Opisthokonta, and Opisthokonta is just animals and fungi and all the things that look like animals and fungi. I mean, look like, yes. because but they are. But you see, Animaldia, they're right there, and there's a ton of other things that we're going to see before we see the animals. So let's go to the Wikipedia page of Opisthokonta. That are also divided by Holozoa and Holomycota. Let's go. Yeah, you don't see it, but it's a screen capture, so it works. It works really well. Works really well for me. Opisthokonta. That much is more going to be a dramatic reading of Wikipedia articles with some commentary, rather than a true lesson, quote unquote. I mean, I use Wikipedia. The best way you can use Wikipedia is here. Here is the best way you can use Wikipedia. It's the reference page. Wikipedia is a great page for. It's actually a great way to do research, as long as you look at that. Because it's going to give you references. Those references are going to give you references, and then you can actually do true scientific work, true archiving work. Problem is, as you can see, it takes a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time yet. I don't have a lot of time. J'ai tout Opisthokonta. Olola iso. I mean, technically they are all animals. I haven't seen any one of the Hololive girls that are either a mushroom or I mean, tool teacher or scientist or any one of those. Wikipedia is a great tool as long as you use that. Because that here, let me tell you something. Is a personal anecdote? Yes, but it works. I had a professor of mycology. He had a PhD in mycology. He is one of the world leaders when it comes to fucking funguses. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. And the Wikipedia articles that he corrected on mushrooms and their classifications were corrected by quote-unquote Wikipedia mods that were more expert than him, apparently. He put references too. They were corrected in a fucking hour. So let me tell you, do not trust Wikipedia for... EN4 has a mushroom girl. I'm still waiting for GP7. I'm already waiting for GP7. And ID4. I'm waiting for ID4 too. Oh yeah, I want ID4. I want ID4 to happen. Wait, ID4? Do we have an ID3? Or am I mistaking with this? Wait, we have area 15, which is ID1. We have also, yes. I also had a thing because Wikipedia is very politically oriented. So in pages you have wars about politics. I mean, I'm more a fan of Hololive ID than either of them. Even though I'm like Marine a lot. Problem is I cannot follow JP a lot because I don't understand them, and I like to watch it live. And I already watch Michiru and Ayori in Face Connect JP, and apparently Face Connect 2, Face Connect in, also NASA, please watch NASA. Face Connect Generation 3 is going to have JP members, so we're going to have more JP members for Face Connect, and I love Face Connect. I freaking love Face Connect. Can't believe how much I love Face Connect. If only it would allow guys. But that's just my delusions. I'm never going to be included in an agency because I'm way too small. But yeah, Opisthokonta. So like I said, it's very politically oriented. So much so that one of my friends, which is from a certain island. It's not really the containment agency. For me, they're really extremely cool. And Sakana has saved a lot of girls. And let me just say, Hololive wouldn't take Pipkin Pipa. Pipkin Pipa can only be at her best in Face Connect because she made Face Connect. Pipa, Tenma, Ayori, Michiru. Pipa, Tenma, Ayori, Michiru, NASA. Fuck yeah. And Uruka. Of course, Uruka. Of course, Uruka. How could I fucking forget Uruka? They made Face Connect for what it is. Also, the invaders. The invaders. Well, I mean, at first there was only 2 invaders. One of them brought me only pain. And the other being a lemon woman. But, let's go. So, as I said before, Opisthokonta, they mean for opistios, for rear posterior, so it's as tail, as pole, so flagellum. Only second I can handle the girls of this level, Schizo. No, he can't. Okay, that's going to... I'm going to cut it here because it's not part of the lesson. It's not part of the lesson, it's just me being, it's just me gossiping. He can't, and that's why Mumi and the other staff is here. At first it was only him, and he had a horrible relationship with the girls. And he apparently, according to Tenma, it went into shouting matches. And so Tenma said that you are a man, you cannot understand what we need for a manager, so he hired Mumi. Mumi, which is the main manager for Face Connect. And that's how, because there's a lot of things in Face Connect that are hopefully, that are really, apparently Face Connect, I'd say, is a pretty well-oiled machine because we don't hear a lot about management. We don't hear a lot about conflict between management and the girls. And Mumi was there and pretty much saved what the other girls saw as a sinking ship. But yes, but Sakana is just the one that can conceive to have a girl like Pippa and say, you are going to be part of my agency, or my first wave. But to be completely fair, Face Connect at first looked like a scam. According to the other one, they were very, very, very convinced that it was a scam agency. Oh god, I love Face Connect. 2 years of Face Connect and I never looked back. Flagella and other characteristics. So, the common characteristic of Opisthokonta is that they have flagellates, yes, as a sperm of host animal and spores, and the chytrid fungi. Propels themselves with posterior flagellum. These features that give the group its name. Flagellates saved from other eukaryotes propels themselves in one more anterior flagellae. So we have something that is called biconts for 2 tails. Base Connect, yes indeed. So 2 tails. And plants are biconts, which is why they are not Opisthokonts. Characteristic includes synthesis of an extracellular chitin in exoskeleton, cyst, spore walls or cell walls, filamentous growth, and hyphae for mushrooms. Extracellular digestion of substrate with osmotrophic absorbing of nutrients, and other cell biosynthetic and metabolic pathways. Genera at the base and each clades are amoeboid and phagotrophic. So phagotrophic, you know, that's basically what I explained to you. But yeah, we had mushrooms, pretty interesting. They are very interesting. They have a lot of things that are pretty unique among them. The close relationship between animals and fungi has been suggested in 1987. Yeah, because at first it was classified more in relationship with plants, which, yeah. Using the full name of Opisthokonta, early phylogenies based on fungi near plants, another group that are mitochondria in flat cristae, blah 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 blah. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of us. Opisthokonta. You know your nearest family. It's Animalia, maybe. It's primate, maybe. Maybe it's Mammalia. Maybe it's primates. Maybe it's Mammalia. Maybe it's Animalia. But maybe it's Quasana, maybe it's Philozoa, maybe it's Holozoa, but it's Opisthokonta. And Opisthokonta appeared 1 billion years ago. More than 1 billion years ago. We are relatively recent. Because remember that life appeared 3.5 billion years ago. So what happened with that? For a moment we are going to do it quick because it's been 2 hours. We're going to do it quick. We have the fungi. Hello. We're going to simply look at it like a map and go there. Go there. Amoebozoa. As you see, it's an amoeba. It's just an amoeba, and they appeared about 800 million years ago. They are pretty recent. They are extremely recent, but they are extremely big. Some of the biggest single-celled organisms that ever lived. They are extremely big. They have a morphology that is based on a pigeon shit. They look like pigeon shit. They don't like amoebozoa. Oh, amoebozoa. Oh, you call them amoeb. Because in French we call them abim. We call them des amoebes. Just amoeb. No, apparently it's amoebe. Amoebe. So in English it's amoebe. Yeah. Basically, it uses its cytoskeleton using a pseudopod. Pseudopod is just, you know, an arm in the cytoskeleton that creates an arm. It adheres to a surface, it moves. It has multiple nucleus, and it's really big. It's really freaking big. What kind of parasite do we have? Well, we have the brain-eating amoeba. A mogus, indeed. We have a brain-eating amoeba. It exists. It's really fucking bad. We have a clear cell, a clear outer layer, blah blah blah, ectoplasm, blah blah blah, locomotion, flows forward. The main way they eat is phagocytosis. I showed you phagocytosis, blah blah blah. In the cells run potential food particles in its pseudopod, sending them into vacuoles in which they are digested and absorbed, blah blah blah. Amoebozoan has a posterior bulb called a neuroid. That I don't know. I'm not specialized in amoebae. Okay, so it's time to say where my knowledge ends and when it begins. It truly begins as such as we speak about biochemistry. When we speak about biochemistry, especially in animals and plants, I know a lot about what happens inside a cell, the physiology of a cell, and its behavior in normal circumstances are complete and absolute nonsense for me. Oh, apparently it has cymoles. Oh, look at that. It can make spores, form structures in fruiting bodies. Sporangia. Yeah, sporangia. It can be microscopic. Here, look at that. Look at that. It's not a mouse. I want to see an amoeba. I want to see an amoeba. Amoeba spores. Yeah. Look at that. This is a collection of single-celled organisms. This is not a mushroom. This is an amoeba. They all reproduce. They do a mega orgy. And then some of them sacrifice themselves in order to become the fruiting body. I mean, a lot of them sacrifice themselves in order to become the fruiting body. And a minority become the one who will be able to reproduce and transmit their genes. How is it decided? Well, chemical warfare. So information warfare mostly. But this is an amoeba. This is not a mushroom. Some mushrooms do that, of course. But this is an amoeba. And I find that awesome. Living in a symbiotic relationship with microalgae of the genus Corellia, which is inside the cytoplasm of their host. Oh yeah, I could have talked about Hatena. Hatena hallucinogenia, something like that. But yeah, in the Eukaryota tree we have other things. No, we had amoebas here, but amoebas are here. Yeah. Like I said, Wikipedia cannot be trusted. Because here you have Opisthokonta. Apparently it contains fungi and animalia, which is not true. It is not true. I mean, no, shit. We do have Opisthokonta inside the thing. Yes, it is true. We have Opisthokonta. There is both. Yes, sorry about that. But it's weird. Oh yeah, amoeba are not part. Oh yeah, they are not part of the Opisthokonta. So we should go there. We should go there into the into the hollow mycota. And we're going to save the Eukaryota. Let's go. Yay! Nuclear god! Look at all the diversity. We could literally lose ourselves there. Christie discoia or Eukaryota is a proposed basal hollow mycota clade found in Vtuber and Eukaryota, blah 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 blah. A sister of a fungi, since it's close to a divergence between the main line of fungi and animals, the study of can provide crucial information on the divergent lifestyle of this group and evolution of Opisthokonta and slime mold multicellularity. Yeah, because it can be multicellular. It depends. The whole mycota tree is following the Terdesu and all. Okay. So not a lot has been talked about. Apparently it's a thermophile because you can see Eukaryota thermophila. So apparently it likes heat. But not a lot has been talked about them. True fungi. Let's go for fungi. Let's go for true fungi. Fungus. Ah, you know, one of our main relatives. Fungus. Present early Devonian. 410 million years ago. The appearance of fungus. How recent is that? It's not even 1 billion year. 400 million years ago. It's not even 1 billion year. Life has been here for 3.5 billion years. And there you have someone who is there for 4 million years. Who is one of the dominant clades of all multicellular life. Oh yeah, they are good. They are very good. So, the characteristic that places fungi in a different kingdom from plants, bacteria, and some protists is that they chitin in their cell wall. So chitin, the thing that makes how do you say? You know, the exoskeleton of insects. They use it in their cell walls. They have cell walls, so they have a structure. They basically have a structure inside of a plasma membrane. They have a structure inside of a plasma membrane that we usually see in plants. That is normally a sugar, but here it's chitin. Here it's a cell wall in plants. As you see, this is the cellulose microfiber, and a plasma membrane, like I said, is a double membrane. But here you have a double membrane, and you have a wall in between the two membranes. And here it's chitin. They are parasites. They are predators. They are present in a lot of stuff. They are extremely diverse. They have a pretty cool cell cycle, pretty cool life cycle, in which, well, they reproduce. They do their thing. Usually they stay in the haploid states, and then they become diploid when it comes time to reproduce and make a fruiting body. What's important to know about mushrooms is that this is not a mushroom. This is just the organ of one of the mushrooms, and this is one of the only example in which a mushroom is going to be seen in the human eyes is if it's a mold, or if it's like that, and like that it's only for reproduction, to basically throw the spores away. And it is the only tissue that mushrooms observe, that mushrooms create. Then after that we have Aphelida. I don't know anything about Aphelida. Aphelida is a phylum of fungi that appears to be sister of true fungi. So they look like fungi. You see there's nucleus there, then you have mitochondria, and you have what is PS? What is PS in this definition? Pseudopodium. Ah, so there's just a pseudopod. They look like it. They look like it, but they're not mushrooms. And you see that's just one cell. Mushrooms were not just one cells. They were different cells. They had inflorescences. They have a true diversity. Let me look at. Do they have a tree for mushrooms? Yeah, they have a fucking tree for mushrooms. Zoosporia. Yeah, look at the taxonomy of mushrooms. Yeah, mushrooms are about as diverse, if not more diverse, than animals. And they make very interesting structures, very interesting structures that have been completely retaken by other organisms. And this is basically what happens when you see a mushroom. Here you have the true fungus, and then it comes here. It makes its spores, so its gametes. It does the meiosis here, and it reproduces. It's for an ascomycete, what we call an ascomycete. And this organ is called the carpophore, at least in French. At least in French it's called the carpophore. And this is why the image is called an ascocarp. Because ascomycetes, they have this characteristic shape. And, for example, truffles. Truffles are ascomyceta. And when you have fungus-like organisms, symbiosis with plants, they are symbiotic with plants. They go into the root systems and they bring water back. Lichens too. Lichens are an algae and a mushroom with insects. They do have a mutualistic relationship, mainly because ants have domesticated mushrooms. What else? But they are also extreme parasites, pathogens and parasites. A pathogen for plants. There's the the mind control. There's cordyceps in mushrooms, etc., etc. We're going to have a whole class dedicated to mushrooms. Don't worry about that, and even to different types of mushrooms, because as you've seen before, mushrooms are extremely diverse and they deserve their own classes. I'm never going to run out of material. I'm never going to run out of material. Even if I were to only specialize in mushrooms, I'm never going to run out of material. Oh, look at that. That actually do look like a mushroom. Because you have an Iphae right there. Microorganisms that are either fungi or sister group of fungi. They differ from classical fungi in that they lack chitinous cell walls at any trophic stage of their lifestyle. Yeah, so you see, no cell walls, no fungi. Common characteristic of the clan members is that they lack the chitinous cell walls present in all the previously discovered fungi, including Microsporidia, and which are a major feature of the kingdom. Without the chitin, the Cryptomica can be phagotrophic parasites that fill by attaching to, engulfing, or living inside other cells. Most known fungi filled by osmotrophy, taking in nutrients from outside the cell. Then you have the Roselia, you have the Microsporidia, which have the cell walls, and as you see, this is the gametes here. This is gametes, and this is the nucleus. So we go with to holozoa. Holozoa because I have a holo life. We can have Ichthyosporia. Let's go to a Holozea page, and let's go for the composition. Holozoa is a clade that includes animals and their closest relatives. We are all a big happy family here. A big happy family. As well as their common ancestors, but exclude fungi. It is defined as a branch-based approach of a clade encompassing all relatives of Homo sapiens, an animal, but not Neurospora crassa, a fungus. Okay. Holozoa, despite this size animal, primarily comprised of unicellular protists. Protists, it's unicellular eukaryotes. Wait, I don't like this term. Lineage of various morphologies such as choanoflagellate, Philestatian, Ichthyosporian, and Coralloschitrium, Sisomans, and Tunicaraptor. Choanoflagellates, with about 250 species, which is not a lot, but they are the closest living relatives of animal, which is true. They are free-living unicellular or colonial flagellates that feed on bacteria using a characteristical collar or microvilli. You see the little collar here? It's here. It's right there. It's the little collar that you see here. And they have a very characteristic presentation. They are Opisthokonts, so of course they have a posterior flagellate. But the movement of a flagellum creates a water current that can propel free-swimming choanoflagellate through the water column and trap bacteria and detritus against the collar of a microvilli, where the food are engulfed. This feeding provides a critical link within the global carbon cycle, linking trophic levels. In addition to their critical ecological roles, choanoflagellates are of particular interest to evolutionary biologists studying the origins of multicellularity in animals. As the closest living relatives of animals, choanoflagellates serves as a useful model for a construction of the last unicellular ancestors of animals. But you see, it basically advances. This all the food gets dropped here. It gets the food. It just moves in and eats the food. It has this, it has a single flagellum. But here's the thing: in contrast to other flagellates, they are pulled by their flagella. Like I said, it's like you're using your arm to swim. It's like you're using an arm to swim. So it advances. So what I'm going to go back to paint. It advances. What it's going to do is up. It's going here. Has its little color it has its little color. It has its little arm here. And what it does is it advances. So you can basically, like an arm, you can lower like that. And then you pull the water. Then you pull the cell towards the water. Where's my mouse? Right there. You pull your cell towards the water like that. And then you basically re-extend the flagellum and you do it again. So tack, 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 tack. It goes in both directions. So it can be like vertically like that. Tack, 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 and then it advances. Basically, it's doing crawl. It crawls inside the water, and it's very essential. It's very essential. They are very distributed, managed by brackish water, etc., freshwater environment, everywhere. They are pretty much everywhere. Look at that. They can make a colony, so they have basically pseudo-multicellularity. And I think this is to reproduce. This is a colony made to reproduce. This is the way they have sex. It's awesome. Life cycle. Choanoflagellates grow vegetatively with multiple species undergoing longitudinal fission. Fission. Okay. However, reproductive cycle of choanoflagellates remain to be elucidated. Holy shit. A paper released in August 2017 showed that the environmental change, including the presence of certain bacteria, trigger the swarming and subsequent sexual reproduction of choanoflagellates. The ploidy level is unknown. So the ploidy level is how many chromosomes is there of the same chromosome. We are diploids, so we have 2 chromosomes of the same pair. We can have triploidy, we can have quadriploidy, etc., etc. However, the discovery of both retrotransposon and key genes involved in meiosis previously suggested they used sexual reproduction as part of their life cycle. So they may have devolved sexual reproduction and do something more extreme otherwise. Some choanoflagellates can undergo encystment, which involves the retractation of the flagellum and collar encasement in an electron-dense fibular wall. On transfer to fresh media, the encystment occurs. So basically, it breaks the cysts. For it remains to be directly observed. Evidence for sexual reproduction has been reported in the choanoflagellate species Sempligogia rosetta. Evidence... Oh, it's beautiful. It's haunting in its beauty. And look at the big collar. It has a pretty big collar too. Evidence has also been reported for the presence of a conserved meiotic genes in the choanoflagellate Monocyga breviosis and Monocyga ovata. So you can breed out some genes. And yeah, like I showed you, there's meiosis. Meiosis can be involved. Oh, so it is involved in silicon biomineralization. Nice. Nice. Oh! They produce a basket. They make glass. They actually do make glass. Oh. Silica protein biocomposites. Each coastal strip is formed within the choanoflagellate cell and then secreted into the cell surface. In nudiform choanoflagellate, lorica assembly takes place using a number of tentacles. One sufficient coastal strip have been produced to comprise a full lorica. In tectiform choanoflagellate, so I'm going to show you what a lorica is. Lorica choanoflagellates. Look at that, it's absolutely awesome, it's beautiful. They make baskets. They make baskets out of glass in order to survive. They are awesome. Look at that. Those are fibers. Those are fibers in which a living being is. It literally is made out of glass. Like it's like the carapace of a snail, except that it secretes the silicon. And we can know if there's been an ocean due to a species. We know if there's been an ocean due to a species of that they are, and the basket shapes. Each and every species have a different basket, a different way they weave. Imagine how they weave glass into their own being. It's very hard to think about. Because they make this basket like that to trap more food, to be inside the thing. They are basically like that. Think about it. You live with a basket of glass that you secrete by yourself. And you find it in fossil. It's one of the few monocellular organisms that do make reliable fossils, because glass is present on the mineral records. We can know if there's been a sea and what kind of environment it was using the species of choanoflagellates and their anatomy. Think about it. It is beautiful. It is awesome. Choanoflagellate biosilicization requires the concentration of silicic acid within the cell. It is carried out by silicon transporter proteins. Analysis of choanoflagellates show that they are similar to STIT silicon transporter in diatom. Oh, like in diatoma. Yeah, diatoma also do that. They also do that. They're also made out of glass and of silica-forming straminophiles. Opisthokonta are a clade of organisms distinguished by the presence of a stiff tripartite external hair. The SIT genes family show little to no homology to any other gene, even to gene in non-silicous choanoflagellate or straminophile. It suggests that the SIT gene family evolved via a lateral gene transfer event between... Oh! It is a remarkable case of horizontal gene transfer between two distantly related eukaryotic species. Yeah, that's pretty fucking neat, right? And it has provided clues to a biochemistry of any silicon-protein interaction in the unique STI gene family. People are trying to search for silicon-based organisms when you can have carbon-based organisms that are already weaving the silica. I know about diatoms because that one Magic School Bus game. Oh, maybe it was the ocean one. Yeah, because it's the brown algae. Diatoms are what we call brown algae. They are what we call brown algae, and yes, they make glass. They make glass. So we know through the species. So it was the diatoms. Through the species of diatoms, we know what they are. We know the species they are. So we know the conditions. And silicon is not an atom that is easily transported and easily manipulated. So you have to think about it. It is beauty. This is what I consider to be beautiful. This is something that leaves me in awe. Yep, no sand required, because it's basically the silicon that they find in the water. I mean, sand is technically required, since it relies on the fact that there is indeed mineralization of the water. But what they need is the silicon, and there's the silicon in sand, the silicon in most minerals, in most mineral particles. But yeah, they make silicic acid. Silicic acid. Let me look at the silicic acid. Chemical compound containing the element silicon attached to an oxide and hydroxyl group. Yeah, so it's just an acid then. But how do they include the silicon there? Because silicon is very freaking stable. You have to understand that silicon makes links that are really freaking stable. So manipulating it requires a lot of energy, and making it into an organic compound is really fucking hard. I mean, it's not really an organic compound since it's an acid made out of silicon and not a carbon. But still. Metacilic acid? It's just silicon oxide. It's literally mineral silicon. Huh. Silica and water. Right there. Holy shit. For me, it's a small miracle. Like, it's a small miracle. Why do you want an organism that based its entire chemistry around silica when you can have something that use silicon as a way to do something cool? You know? I don't know. For me, it's very exciting. I don't understand why people would want more. You know, more. Especially silicon is so freaking stable. It's so freaking stable that every single interaction would need either a lot of time or too much energy. So it's not exactly life as we would be able to interact with it. But imagine something that has, I don't know, glass claws. An animal that has glass claws, that has glass hairs, that has a fur made literally out of glass fibers. So the worst kind of pets ever, because it literally gives you cancer. Oh, that would be awesome. I mean, you know, even a cell wall made out of silicon. Ah, that's holozoa, yeah. But yeah, choanoflagellates. Oh, there you are on my look list. Holozoa, choanoflagellates. Then we go to Ischiosporia. Ichthyosporia. Oh, drip! Oh! I hear Shafai bullshit. Yes! That's what good. Reality is better than fiction. Reality is entirely better than fiction in this case. Also, just for the fact that it's the fucking drip, I have to. I have to put it. Where is it? I have to show something else. It's going to be a surprise. So. Where is it? Yeah, it's this one. I have to show something else.
I spent 2 centuries searching for the platinum chip.
It's my invention!
My property! Mine! Now be a good warrior.
It's a fucking drip! And I hope that I will not be demonetized because of the fucking anime music. It's a bit like a Cruelty Squad Juggernaut. Yeah, pretty much. But oh yeah, it does. It is pretty much built like a Juggernaut from Cruelty Squad. A small group of they are not particularly distinctive morphologically, appearing in host tissues as enlarged spheres or ovals containing spores, and most were originally classified in various groups as fungi, protozoa, and called algae. However, they form in a coherent group on molecular trees, closely related to both animals and fungi, and so of interest to biologists studying their origins. In 2008 study, they emerged robustly as the similar group of clade Philozoa, which includes the animals. X-ray topography of microfossils has interpreted them as mesomycetozoan spore capsules. So yeah, Roko. Now we prefer Roboco in this house. Yeah. But yeah, they have also a lot of species in there. Most of them have no Wikipedia articles. It is to show you how niche most of life actually is. How niche most of life actually is. You're going to know everything about a dog, but you have something that, you know, is like a whole family of life. Like, it's like saying, we don't know a lot about animals or mammals. I find it extremely uninteresting because they are pretty much everywhere. We don't see them. Yeah, that's as ridiculous for me, you know. I'm an equal opportunity parasite. We have the Philastera, six amoeboid species belonging to. Oh, Philastera is pretty cool. Sister clade to Choanozoa, conjoflagellate and animals. Proposed in 2008, phylogenetic analysis of Tonzeno genes. Found to be the sister group of the clade composed metazoa and choanoflagellates. On Opisthokonta, etymology. Thread and star. So yeah, we can see the star thread here. It is a very sweet thing. It's a beautiful star shape. Free living bacteriovore. Oh, so yeah, they eat bacteria. That's it. That's all we know. They live there. They live somewhere. You know, it is a whole group of life. There might be thousands of species there. But the Wikipedia article is just that. Because no one will actually found something to discover what those can do. Like, oh, don't those actually look like amoeba? Well, we already know exactly what we need to know. Goodbye. How unfair is that? They live their life, they evolve just like us, they have genes that are pretty cool. But no one is interested. No one's interested. Why? Because it doesn't infect us, it doesn't interact enough with us, so it lives in peace. It doesn't try to kill us all, and well, not interesting. It doesn't interact with us. We are not eating it. We are not using it for industry. Why should we fund this species? Why should we fund that? Because it's actually peaceful and it's bacteriovore. We could actually, you know, use them. Not interested. It's sad. Periphery. These organisms have varied shape, including cellular aggregation, amoeba, flagellates, etc., etc. Newest discovered clade, whose position within the holozoa has yet to be resolved, is a flagellate with a specialized mouth structure absent in other holozoan. Tunica raptor. Length of 3 to 5 micrometer. Flagellum. Yeah, I don't care. You look at the flagella. Oh yeah, it does. Look at that. Look at what it did. Ah, you don't see it. Let me show you. Because people are not interested. Usually what funds those are usually industries which want immediate applications, or governments that want immediate applications, and papers that want immediate applications, scientists that want immediate application, because what we are judged by is what is called an R index or an H index, I don't know. So basically the number of clicks. Scientists are basically influencers. They are literally paid by the amount of clicks that they generate. They are as important as the amount of clicks that they generate, so they need to create studies. But yeah, look at that. They have a specialized mouth. What the heck? They do. What the? Mouth? They're not going to call it a mouth, but yeah. And morphologically simple cell, superficially resembling fungal zoospore, but it survives by preying on other eukaryotes. Okay. Possibly using a dedicated but transient mouth, which is unique for unicellular Opisthokonta. The Eukaryota transcriptome encodes a fully complements for flagellal genes, flagellal-associated calcium channels, only common in predatory animals, relatives, and missing in microbial parasites and grazers. Eukaryopters also encode several major class of animal cell addition molecules, as well as transcription factors and homologs of protein involved in neurodevelopment that have not yet been found in other animals-related lineages. Holy shit, maybe those are our descendants. Or maybe those are descendants. Maybe those are cousins of animals. Maybe they said, okay, you see these animal things? We are going way too far. Let's get out. Get the fuck out. I don't want to see any of that. And so holy shit. What the heck? I didn't know about those. And yeah, you see the mouth? You see a freaking mouth here? The dedicated mouth? These animal things, no, we're not going to do it. I'm going to go back here. It's comfortable. It's good. Okay, that's a mouth. What the heck? Technically, phagocytosis can appear absolutely everywhere. You just have to use your cytoskeleton. So it dedicates like a whole part of its cell only for that. Huh. Prominent food vacuoles and mitochondrial fat crystal is associated with lipid globules. Huh. Temporary aggregates of flagellated and non-flagellated cells. Eukaryota feed on eukaryotic prey who could not be sustained on bacterial alone. Cells can feed jointly on a single prey cell and form aggregation during feeding. Except for the flagellum and small anterior patch, the mouth, external hair, importantly anterior mouth, is not associated with flagellar pocket apparatus unless the ancestral bicon mouth structure. Two orthogonal centrioles are interconnected by a bridge. It has a mouth, it can pug. I have a mouth and I can pug. I will pug at you. I'm going. This is going to be one of my emotes. This is going to be one of my freaking emotes. Oh fuck, it's a web P! No! Ah! It's going to become one of my freaking emotes. I'm going to make it one of my freaking emotes. Whenever I can have an emotes. Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh look! I'm so going to use that as a pug. So it's great! It's great! Russian memes are something else. Russian memes are something else, I have to tell you. So we went on Philastera, and then we went on that. Holozoa, and then we have Metazoa! Metazoa that are going to have their own dedicated episode, because Metazoa, that's us. And that's us, that's Animalia. Yep. Guregapog already exists on Twitch. But yeah, animals, here they are. And if you want to look at humans, they're here. And in core data, humans are here. They're here. And then in Mammalia, finally in Mammalia, can we have a general tree, please? I know you can do a general tree. They don't want to do a general tree. Can we have primates? Can we have primates? Can we have primates? Can we have primates? Oh, there they are. There they are. We're here. And even then, we're here. Look how much of a minority we are. I nearly want to do you know, copy and paste all of the trees just to show how humans are insignificant compared to what the diversity of life as what it is. But you know animals. You know animals. You know animals. Come on. You know about Metazoa. Metazoa, that's us. That's all of us right there. All of us. There's a lot to talk about. Funny enough, we appeared before mushrooms. We appeared a bit. We have records from before mushrooms. Okay. Here's the thing. If we have records from before something, we don't know exactly. We are a branch of 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 a branch. Let's not forget that there was also multiple human species. No, the problem is that in English species is also singular. It's not just a species, it's a species. It's weird. It's multiple species. But yeah, there was a lot of human species. Like if I try to look at the image, human species chronology. Yeah, look at that. I found it. If we were to look at human evolution, There's multiple human species. And we are here. So yeah, we have bonobo and chimps, but we also have all of those. And for some of those, and I haven't found any of it, that you've perfectly understood exactly what I want to tell. It's not because we are the most intelligent, it's not because we have brains, because we have computers, that we are either the most special or the most important. Trust me, we aren't. You just saw how there was a glass weaving the choanoflagellates that are glass weaving, the diatoma that are freaking glass weaving. And yes, it's humbling, but it's also uplifting in a way. You know? We are one amongst all of them. And we are the ones that, you know, we have evolved the ability to have depression, yes. But we have also evolved the ability to look at every single one of them, to wonder and to love them. Equally for what they are, for what they do. We can look upon the world and wonder at what we are doing, of what we are, what it is, the family that we are. And even though some of them attack us, it's only natural, it's only part of it. Sure, a world where everything could live in peace would be a world, you know, ideal. But why? There's diversity, there's competition, there's cooperation, a lot more cooperation than competition too. Like some prey species sometimes do depend on the predators. Predators absolutely do depend on their prey. Parasites depend on their hosts. Some hosts have evolved in order to include parasites as a symbiosis. Mitochondria. We're not an apex at the very height of a pyramid. We are just one of many branches of a single tree. A single tree. We feed on ourselves. We learn of ourselves. It's an us. It's not an us and them. It's an us. It is. It's also because we are looking at the majority there. Remember that bacteria are the majority there in the world. And if viruses were to count, viruses would be the absolute majority. I love to use the example that if we were to align all the viruses that exist at a time that have been calculated to exist at the time t, you would have enough length to cover the whole galactic diameter, the whole diameter of the Milky Way. In viruses. This is humbling. This is just beauty. For me, this is beauty. This is beauty. Even the parts that we find more grisly, you know, even when I talk about the sex update, it is beautiful. It is a way to implement, a way to survive, to allow ourselves to survive and to be surviving. We are but a speck. We are a speck. We are literally this one grain of dust that lives for. We are this one flash of light. This one little flash, measly flash of light. Our intelligence is one measly flash of light in an endless darkness. But one flash of light that is able to project its light in other things in the single instant that it exists. To be able to be aware of its own existence and the existence of everything else. And using silica, we are able to literally write the universe, how we see it, how we experience it, and all of our cousins, brothers and sisters with it. And we are able to write it down and study it. And that's just the universe being sentient of ourselves. I do think that our sapience and intelligence make us special, and that's personally why I see beauty in it. But we shouldn't forget that our place is in the bigger. Yes, we have a place in the bigger picture, and like we should evolve like Spider-Man. Great powers come with great responsibility. We have the ability to move and destroy. We have the ability to transform the planet and the whole universe. For all of that we have the ability to transform into shapes that have never been seen before and will never be seen after that. Yeah, the pale blue dots. I haven't listened to his speech, but I know what it is about. Carl Sagan is an inspiration to me. It is an inspiration to me. He is. And frankly, yeah, like this one speck of stardust, is able for the brief amount of time that the universe will be able to contain life as we know it. And maybe even after. I don't know. If you watch if you watch Isaac Arthur, as I do, you know that within the laws of physics, if you have enough time and enough resources, you can last a long time as a life form. But oh yeah, he is, and he only ever wanted to transmit love and knowledge and respect. But that's what we need to have. We have only one pale blue dot. We have only one Earth. It is our, how do you say? It is our home. It will forever be our home. It is where we evolve to live. And even if it's not the home for new human species that, I don't know, evolve to live in low gravity environments, that evolve to live in Mars, evolve to live near a black hole or whatever. Even if it's not exactly our home, it is where we come from. Never forget your roots, kid. Never forget your roots. And even then, for a moment, yes, it's the only home we've ever known, and we are destroying it. And yeah. For a moment, we are not acting in symbiosis for our planet like we should. Like, sure, the planet contains a lot of resources, but we should respect it. I'm not a fan of saying Gaia. But the way we are all interlinked, the way we depend on every single resources, mineral and organic, and those resources being dynamic, and them depending on us at the same time, even more than ever before, make us what we are. And we have this great power of transformation. We have this enormous power of transformation. We need to have this enormous responsibility at the same. We have this enormous responsibility at the same time. I'm going to tell you a story, the story of domestication. We have a responsibility towards dogs, towards cats, towards every single plant that is domesticated. Every single animal, every single plant, every single mushrooms, every single bacteria that we've ever domesticated. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility towards them. This responsibility towards every single grain of sand that we've ever made into glass, that is never going to be seeing the ocean again, that is never going to be made into lava again, that is never going to be made into sedentary stone again. We have a responsibility. It is a collective price. We need to shoulder it. We need to go back and become good gardeners. For a while, the garden, we have destroyed the garden so much that now it needs sometimes our intervention in order to live quietly, to be beautiful. We are able to make it beautiful, truly beautiful. And even though we live for our own convenience, as all species do, we have this responsibility now as this one special chimp that has a squishy material that is able to get depression, that is able to see the world, that is able to know what the world is, that is able to do math. We have this one responsibility. And bananas, don't forget about bananas. But yes, we should base for me the metric that we should base our significance on is on the scale of size with complexity. Our brains are the most complex thing in the universe, and thus the most beautiful. This argument exists, and I don't really think that I don't really think that it is especially the most complex structure. I mean, it is extremely complex, true, but beauty doesn't exactly come from complexity. I mean, I do think that we are all equally beautiful in different ways. But yeah, what we did for dogs and silk moths, yeah, not exactly great. Not exactly. I mean, no, we lived in symbiosis with dogs and silk moth. They can live beautiful lives. They can live better lives than they ever did in nature. Like, as wolves, they knew hunger, they knew famine, they knew diseases. What we did to dogs, excepting the extreme case of aesthetic replacement, that really aesthetic selection that made them really diseased. Even for German shepherds, some things are. Thanks, Sagittarius. Thank you a lot. But yeah, I try to respect my host too. Yeah, that's what I think needs to happen. We need to make it more conscious of that globally. Problem is that we are the apes that look. If we can't even respect ourselves at first, if we can't respect ourselves, we're never going to have this kind of compassions for other species, I think, especially if they don't look like us. Which is exactly why I have this horrible disgust towards the characters in Eukaryota, because it's all about looks. It's all about, do they look like us? Don't they look like us? Why? They disgust us. They should die. I'm only going to look out for myself. Yeah. Very true. We need to understand how linked we are. We are the descendants of a story that is 3.5 billion years old. And if we consider the Earth itself our mother, our collective mother, Gaia, Terra, Holy Terra, it is a story of 4.5 billion years. We need to save her. Life is life. It should be respected and cherished. Indeed. It should be cherished. At least I cherish it. All forms of life are, for me, beauty. As disgusting as they seem to common knowledge, to common sensibilities, there is beauty in them. There is function in them. And well, tomorrow is Blasphemous 2! Ah, that was an overly long, overly sentimental epilogue, don't you think? Oh, so what happened to Earth in Starfield? It was depressing honestly. Oh, I don't know what happened to Earth in Starfield. Can't we explain? Because I don't like Bethesda games, but they have... The grand idea is pretty great, but after that it breaks down into the details and the ways the story works. But the grand lore usually is pretty good. Like, it works sometimes, if they don't work in sequels. If they don't do sequels, the lore can be pretty good. But what happened to the Earth? And what are you are doing this stream? To show that they are being so much smaller than us, but no less awesome. Yeah. And the Parasite class have for goal to obtain a comprehension of life, so that we can go afterwards towards parasites, because I really do love parasites. Completely devoid of life, as pale as the moon, because even the atmosphere is gone. Did I fucking mine out the magnetosphere? Or did they just use absorb the atmosphere like in Spaceballs? What the fuck? Did they mine out the... Did they destroy the magnetosphere? No water too. Yeah, well, I mean, if there's no water, if there's no atmosphere, there's no water, because water can only be liquid in atmospheric pressure conditions. You need a certain a certain amount of pressure to make it liquid, otherwise it becomes gas. And if there's no atmosphere, well, this gas is elsewhere. Shit. Oh well, that is depressing. That is actually... Like, if it's as pale as the moon, it's not even geologically active. It cannot be geologically active. That's horrible. The Earth is truly dead. It absolutely is truly dead. Damn. Because, yeah, we should take, we do need to take care of home. But it's going to look like that one day. It is going to look like that one day. When the sun is going to die, the Earth is still going to be there. It's not exactly going to be gone. It's just going to be there in space. The moon is going to be flung away. It's going to be one lonely rock in absolute emptiness. If you have seen the story of SCP-682 at the end of time, at the very, very end of time, you know what's going to happen to the Earth. But yeah, but if there's anything that you should remember is that we should take care of our home. Please, 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 please take care of our home. And if no, that's way too early to not be. Maybe they mined out the core or something like that. Because yeah, damn. Okay. That is truly depressing. To be completely honest, that is absolutely truly depressing. Please take care of our home. Tomorrow will be blasphemous. Damn. Love life. It's a gift. Every single form of them. Live to love them. Embrace them. Of course, kill some of them, because some of them can, you know, live your life as long as it doesn't. Your life is not in, you know, problem. As long as there's no problem with that. Yeah. As long as you're not, you know, you do not have problem with diseases, etc., etc. Don't kill. Don't kill what is not going to attack you. What is only trying to live. Everyone is the hero of their own story. Everyone, even a fucking parasite like me. Even a freaking parasite like me may have some value, even though I'm one of the worst things ever. Hey, please, learn to love, learn to live. Accept the gift that it is. Be a bloomer. Be a bloomer. Get out of the doomer. Be a bloomer. Tomorrow will be blasphemous. Bye. Okay, this is not a good one. I love you all. Thanks for watching.